Hello MP Sir, this is Roy Hammond again, also known as MP Roy. This is part of a series of tutorial videos that describes the install, configuration, and use of the permissions manager known as PermissionsX. In our first video, we installed PermissionsX manually as a development build. If we go in game here, and we're now on this server, if we go in game and we type /PO, we see that we have two plugins. Both are green. This means that both are enabled. These two plugins are PermissionsX and Chat Manager. However, if we type in chat, we see that we don't actually seem to have any sort of prefixes. We don't actually seem to have many commands. We just have the default bucket command. Actually, I don't even have those. I'm currently opt, and the reason that I'm opt is to avoid dealing with monsters. So for now, let's type this, and we see that we have version 1.19.5. So let's set up the basic two groups. We're going to set up a default group, which is the group that everybody is as soon as they log in. And then we're going to set up an owner group that is the owner and has all permissions. So for this first step, you want to go to the plugins folder and then go to your PermissionsX folder. You'll see a file, well, you'll see two files. One is named config.yml and one is named permissions.yml. We want the permissions. So if you right click and go to edit file, you'll see this default group. This default permission is added because it assumes that you installed modify world. However, we didn't. So there's no need for that permission. So let's go ahead and set up the rest of this. For the default group, we want to add a prefix. We're going to make it simple. And one reminder about YML files. YML is very particular about its formatting tags. If you add one space where it doesn't belong, or leave off a space, or leave off a colon, you're going to have problems loading the file. So make sure that you maintain the exact same format. So in this case, the line that we're adding is the prefix. A prefix is always going to be enclosed in single quotes. With a prefix, especially with PermissionsX, you can add color by using the Minecraft color formatting codes. In this case, we want to make the default group have the color of gold. And we want to make the name, instead of being the same color as the tag, we want to make the name, not sure what color this is, 9. So now we have a prefix set up. This is the default group, which means that this is the group that everybody is the second they log on to the server. The group currently has no permissions because there are no plugins for permissions. Now the last step of adding this group is to add the ladder rank. The first step is to add the options line and then tab over until you're directly beneath options, and then tab over 4 more times. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm sorry, I keep saying tab. Never use a tab in a YML file. Always use space, because if you use a tab, it inserts formatting that YML does not understand. Whenever you set up a ladder structure, you always want to start with your lowest group having the highest rank. So in this case, default group, which will be the default lowest group on the server, is going to have a rank of 100. Now, we want to set up a second group, so let's add owner. The name of the group is owner. Make sure you use semicolons wherever they're specified that they need to be used. Tab space over. Let's add the prefix of owner, and let's give him a name that's going to be red. And now we have our prefix set up. It's not necessary to include the line default true because we already know what our default group is. You cannot have two default groups, so there's no need for the line default false. Now with PermissionsX, it supports a permission known as the all permission. So under permissions, we're going to add this node. That asterisk means that this group has every permission that the server allows. If we add any other plugins, then this group will already have all of the permissions needed to use the plugin. And now the final step is to add the rank. Since this is your highest group, nobody is going to be any higher than owner. We want to give them a rank of 1. Now, if we save the file, go back to our console, whenever you make a change inside the file, inside the permissions file, you're going to need to type PEX reload with no slash inside your console. You're going to see one of two things. You're either going to see permissions reloaded, or you're going to see it generate an error if you messed up the formatting. In this case, we saw permissions reloaded. So let's go back in game. Now you see, since I'm the default group, I have a gold tag of default and my name is blue. So let's go ahead and add ourselves to the owner group, and the way that we do that is, with the current setup, we can simply type PEX promote mpserv. User mpserv promoted to owner group. So now if we go back in game, we'll see that we are now the owner. This means that we will have, no matter what plugin we install, we will have the permission needed to set up, use, etc. that plugin. Now there is another command that you can use from console or from in-game once you're the owner. Once you're the owner, you can use in-game commands, but you can't promote yourself, so we're going to use console. The other command to promote a user to a certain group is PEX user and then the username. So in this case, mpserv group set and then the group name. So in this case, we're just going to reset ourselves back to owner. Once you've typed that, you'll see user group set. Since we set ourselves to owner, you'll see that we are still the owner. So this tutorial, in this tutorial, we've set up the very basic permission groups, which are default and owner. Anytime a new person logs into this server, they're going to be the default group. They won't be anything else until we add some other groups and promote them. Thank you for watching this tutorial, and stay tuned for a new tutorial on creating more groups and setting up advanced permissions. Thanks.